We all love a little shot. Have mercy on your soul.
Come see the Tingler.
Well, who are you?
I'm Samantha Grace, that's who I am. I'm the director of this fine production.
Our students take part in very serious exercises, acting exercises, in order to prepare themselves for the Tingler.
2, 3, 4, Czechoslovakia, boom, shaboom. Yugoslavia, boom, shaboom. We got the rhythm in our hands. We got the rhythm in our hands. We got the rhythm in our feet. We got the rhythm in our feet. We got the rhythm in our hands.
No, it's actually going to be fun. It's actually going to be a fun show, and a lot of audience participation will help.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Tell us what's the first thing that happens to you in this play?
I get killed. I get electrocuted.
That's right.
I get electrocuted.
It's a great scene. It's a great scene.
Really good scene. Really good scene. Yeah.
Jeremiah?
Yes, sir. You see, this is my buddy. We went on hunger strike in the 20s, but he was a little too committed.
So how many light cues are in this thing?
There are 101. They gotta come check us out. This is most definitely the show of the year. You gotta come see us.
Great. So what do you think about doing this show? Are you enjoying yourself?
I am enjoying myself a lot. It's my first college show and I'm happy about it. I think we're doing really good.
Oh, it's Ollie. I love this because it's extra. I would do this.
What's your favorite part of the show?
The first acid trip. Where we're demons.
You like being a demon?
Yeah.
Okay.
When she comes out with the Tingler on her back and screams.
Just not used to that mustache, that Vincent Price mustache?
But it looks nice on here.
You look okay, man. You
That's the thing. It doesn't look bad, and I don't know how to feel about that.
Those were all the ski lifts.
She was responsible for my death. She is such a clever girl.
Thank you, Daddy.
You know, she put some knockout drops in my scotch. Then she had some of her no-neck boy toys string me up, make it look like a suicide. Even wrote this beautiful suicide note. Then she took control of my estate, and she forged my will, and here we are. And she set herself a goal, and she went for it.
I just wish I had done it before we were married, Warren. I didn't count on my dopey husband figuring out my murder plan. You're smarter than you look.
Isabel, have you told him yet?
Just getting ready to, Daddy.
Must not scream!
Well, Warren, you know how they say marriage is death do us part? Well, that turns out to be only half true. In heaven,
Mountain View College is your most valuable connection. Hi, I'm Thomas, and I'm a student here at Mountain View College. And I'm here today with other MVC students to tell you about one of the finest community college districts in the U.S., as well as one of its original campuses, Mountain View. If you're nearing graduation or have already graduated from high school, or perhaps you're a returning student of any age, you'll soon see that Mountain View College has exactly what you're looking for. Mountain View College is the perfect place to start towards your four-year degree.
Or it could be that you're interested in career training instead, in one of our many technical courses.
Or maybe you just want to take a few courses to decide if you like college life before making a full-time commitment.
Whatever your personal plans are in life, Mountain View can help you realize your dreams. They've been doing it since 1970 for thousands of students, so you know they're good at it. Mountain View College is part of the DCCCD, or Dallas County Community College District, one of the largest in the United States, and MVC was one of the first campuses to open in 1970. They have the experience needed to make your personal goals a reality, and it all happens on one of the most beautiful locations in all of Dallas. You know, the minute you arrive at MVC, the college takes great pride in its past, present, and future achievements.
If you're planning on attending Mountain View College as the first step towards a four-year college or university degree, then you're on the right track. Many students use MVC to get their two-year associate degree and then transfer to the college of their choice.
The courses here are much more affordable than at a four-year university, which reduces the cost of your final degree considerably.
Mountain View College is proud of its distinguished award-winning faculty and staff who are all committed to your long-term success. The level of teaching at Mountain View is the same you'll find at a major university. When you transfer from Mountain View, you can be certain you'll be well prepared to continue toward a four-year degree or beyond. But what if you'd rather train in a specific job field and move out into the workforce as soon as possible? Again, MVC is the place to be.
Mountain View College has a number of business and technical courses that you might want to consider, and they're adding new ones all the time.
Medical assisting, criminal justice, aviation, electronics, welding, computer information systems, Cisco, Windows certification, and more. The list of business and technology courses offered at MVC is a long one. Whatever your interest might be, whatever career training you need, it's up to date and state-of-the-art at MVC. As affordable as Mountain View is, you still might find yourself a little tapped out. That's okay. There are many financial options available. The community college was originally designed to be affordable by all, and this is still true today as ever before. And with scholarships, financial aid, the Rising Star program, just to name a few, it's the best time of all to attend Mountain View. Just talk to any of our counselors to find out all the options open to you.
So you know that MVC is an excellent choice for pursuing a college degree or getting the training you need for a specific job field. But there's a lot more to college life than just attending classes.
Student life at Mountain View is a very high priority. You'll find special events, club activities, sports, fine arts, and much more. There's so much to see and do all year long at MVC. To enhance your academic or career choices, or just have some fun. Well, there you have it. A brief look into one of the most experienced and dedicated community colleges around. Experienced in meeting the students' needs since 1970 and dedicated to your long-term success.
So if you'd like to find out more about Mountain View College, call for information, or better yet, visit. We think you'll make Mountain View College your choice just as we did.
So as you consider a college, consider your most valuable connection.
There are more single-parent families in America right now than ever before. Today's single parents encounter obstacles and juggle various responsibilities alone. Raising children has never been an easy job for two parents, much less one. And often single parents believe they must make certain sacrifices in order to survive. But that's no reason to put educational and career goals on hold. At Mountain View College, we are aware of the special needs of the single parent. We offer day and evening programs to fit your schedule, 2-year associate degree programs, technical, occupational programs, childcare, and financial aid. Through our vast resources and caring staff, we are committed to the academic and career success of the single parent. If you're a single parent who thinks college is out of reach, consider Mountain View.
Is here. He'll be out to speak in about 5 minutes. Appreciate your patience. Just a few more minutes and he will be here. Thank you. Good morning. It's my pleasure this morning to be able to bring the candidate for the presidency of the United States to talk with our students and faculty. Joining me on the platform this morning, we have a number of distinguished guests from our immediate service area that I'd like for you to be able to meet and join me in welcoming. I hope I have all the names right. We had a quick shift here at the last minute, but I'd like for these people to stand and, as I introduce them, and ask you to hold your applause because we've introduced them all. DeSoto Mayor Willis Russell, Cedar Hill Mayor George Walters, Grapevine City Councilman Alton Mullendorf, and from the City of Dallas, Mayor Pro Tem Don Hicks. We're certainly happy to have them. Next on my immediate right, I would like to express a very personal note of thanks because he is one that is very much responsible for working with us and being able to bring Ambassador Bush to our campus this morning. The gentleman on my right is Mr. Larry Tarver, editor and publisher of the Oak Cliff Tribune. Just welcome. This time I'd like to introduce Ambassador Bush, who was born in Massachusetts and raised in Connecticut. He attended Yale University, where he was a Phi Beta Kappa graduate in economics at the unbelievable age of 18. After graduating from Yale, he entered the Navy and became the youngest pilot in the Navy in World War II. He was shot down in the Pacific and spent 31 days in a rescue submarine below the surface. And for a pilot, that's a tough situation to be in. He received the Distinguished Flying Cross for his valor while serving as a Navy pilot during World War II. After the war, he came to Texas and founded the Zapata Petroleum Company and became one of the early pioneers in offshore drilling activities. He later sold his company and became a two-term U.S. Congressman from Houston. As a freshman congressman, he was extremely fortunate to be able to serve on the powerful House Ways and Means Committee. After serving in Congress, he served our nation as Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, as Ambassador to the United Nations, and as our first special envoy to China after trade between our two nations was opened. He has also served as Chairman of the Republican National Committee and has been active in many areas of national public life. He has been married for 35 years. He has a wife named Barbara and 5 children who are all very actively participating in his campaign. I wish that you would join with me in welcoming Ambassador Bush and his daughter, Dorothy, who is with him today.
Thank you very, very much. We're late. We taxied in behind Teddy Kennedy's airplane. That's the one with the 2 left wings. And that's why we were so late. I want to thank Dr. Jordan for that warm introduction and tell you how pleased I am to be here and how sorry I am to keep busy people waiting. It's a pleasure for me to share this platform with some of the elected and civic leaders of this booming, fantastic community. I would be remiss if I didn't pay my special regards, not just to Dr. Jordan, but to my friend of long standing, Ray Zolber, from here, who was with the, as you all know, with the Oak Cliff Tribune, and who's been a friend of mine for many, many years. Been at my side in some tough political battles, I might say. What I thought would be most lively today would be mainly to respond to your questions. But before I do that, let me just make a few comments on politics. I know that I am locked in a deadly, tough struggle for the Republican nomination. But I also know that the battle is far from over. We went into Pennsylvania 2 weeks ago written off by a lot of these mournful pundits that you read in the newspapers about. 30 points back, first time one-on-one with Reagan, and we beat him by 10 points. The same thing can happen. I will campaign, and what helps there? I'll tell you what it is. Change strategy. But we got it in focus because John Anderson was out of the race. First time it was one-on-one. Not to tear him down, but to give the voters the recognition that they have a choice in November. 50% of the people saying they don't like what the papers are telling them is their only choice. Jimmy Carter or Ted Kennedy. And what we did was to focus in on these issues, and I want to do that through your questions today. The differences with Reagan, not in a way to tear him down. I've never done that, as Ray knows. I've been a national chairman of our party. I was a precinct leader out in, as George knows, out in West Texas. I was the county chairman in Harris County, the biggest county organization there was, and I've always believed that the people are best served by a viable two-party system. And I believe it. I think those that vote straight lever Democrat are better off to have a viable, contesting two-party system. So I'm not going to campaign in a way to destroy my opposition or tear them down. I am going to campaign, however, in a way that spells out these differences on the issues. And that's what happened in Pennsylvania. We got the differences in focus. I hammered away on the fact that I built something in the private sector. And thus, when we talk about balanced budgets and less taxes and jobs for people in the private sector, I speak from experience that Governor Reagan did not have in the private sector. My business was built starting in West Texas and then across the state, and mainly emphasis on the Gulf Coast. But I know what it is to meet a payroll. And thus, when I talk about supply side, you economists here would know this, but supply side cuts, things that stimulate investment for housing or stimulate investment for jobs for people in the private sector, I believe my experience is helpful here. And similarly, with Iran on the front burner and foreign policy on people's minds, as your ambassador in China, your ambassador at the UN, and running the Central Intelligence Agency, it may be its most difficult time in history. I believe I understand the world as it is. I've had experience in foreign affairs. And what happened in Pennsylvania is we focused on that and put forward ideas about a new foreign policy that would restore the respect we've lost by the United States keeping its word, by the United States having a human rights policy, but not one that is going to fail to observe our strategic interests. Today you see Castro's Cuba very differently than what President Carter led this country to believe it was like 3 years ago when he stopped the SR-71 flights over Cuba, hoping Cuba would love us. And today they open the door a crack and people struggling to get out because they want to get away from Marxism and they want to get to freedom. And I believe we need to turn around our policy, and based on my experience, I'm absolutely assured that we can do it and offer hope to people like that are struggling to be free. And that we sometimes say, oh, well, don't worry about them. You know, we're going to try to improve relations with Castro, the fundamental violator, incidentally, of human rights in this hemisphere. So the point I'm making is that experience in life, business, in city councils or mayors or running a newspaper or great leader in education that I'm privileged to be on a platform with, all of the experience counts in everything we do in life. And we elected a president 3 years ago that had no experience at all in foreign affairs. Absolutely none. And as a result today, we have a vacillating foreign policy. Policy that doesn't understand the world as it is. Carter sees it as it is, wishes it were not as it is. And that's the big difference I have with him when it comes to foreign affairs. And I believe my experience would help us strengthen our defense, keep our commitments to our allies, build a three-ocean navy, build an ocean alliance that's going to offer freedom to countries around the world that really do struggle, as Castro's Cuba is doing, struggle to be free. And so the big thing I must do here in the remaining 4 days of Texas, my home state, the state where I've lived 32 years of my life, is to make clear that I understand not just the aspirations of Texas, but based on experience, what it's going to take to break inflation and what it's going to take to restore the respect we've lost abroad. That's the kind of approach I'm bringing to this, and I'm going to work these last 4 days just like it's going out of style, because I'll tell you something. I don't believe these mournful people. You know, a year ago, I started from absolutely nowhere. The only guy that believed in me in the whole newspaper business is sitting on his platform. The very first endorsement I received came from this guy down here, nationwide. And then, with a field of people much better known, through hard work, through friends, through loyal support, through addressing myself not just to the problems of the business people, but to the problems of the deprived, the problems of the people that want to work and can't find jobs, the problem of the Hispanic Americans in Texas or wherever it is. Addressing myself to the problems of the people, we came ahead, came way from behind, and if you'd have said to me, well, Connolly will be out of it, Baker will be out of it, Crane, Dole, Anderson will all be out of it, there'll only be 2 people left by the time of the Texas primary, I would have said, listen, that's coming a long way, but it's not far enough for me. I am in this thing to stay. We got a tremendous lift out of Pennsylvania. Anderson is not in there. As I said, that was the first time we were one-on-one on a major state, and we beat him by 10 points. I want to use these last 4 days to campaign my heart out. I need your help. These other bigger shots, Democrats or Republicans, don't. But I know I need it. And so I ask you to go to the polls, and you know it's an open primary. You know also that only 33% of the delegates to the Republican convention have been selected. You know also, if you follow it, that 49% of the people that are delegates the day that convention is gaveled to order are committed. So the ball game is still open. I need your help. I want to answer your questions. Thank you very, very much. Walter Cronkite and John Anderson, the question was. Hey, listen, Walter, I don't want to do anything to get Walter sore. He goes into about 85 jillion homes every night, and he has got more credibility than anybody else out there. But Walter would find this out, just like I have. It's tough out there. And once you get into that political arena, a lot of people are going to be wondering where Walter Cronkite stands. A lot of people think they know, and I was amazed at that. But more power to them. Come on in. The water's fine. That independent movement is destined to fail. No question about it in my mind. We are a two-party system, and the John Anderson candidacy has been a phenomenon. But it's been created out of disillusioned Kennedy voters. Anderson's support today comes from the furthest left of the political spectrum. And I don't say that with bitterness. I just say it with objectivity. And if Walter fits comfortably into that philosophical not mainstream, but the philosophical stream over there, fine. Let him get in. But the Anderson campaign is not going to make a ripple, in my view, after it gets this initial media hype. Why? Because you're going to have Senate, you're going to have Congress, you're going to have a two-party tradition in this country, and I don't believe that third-party thing is going anywhere by itself. Doonesbury just can't win it for you. Who's next? Right here.
Mr. Ambassador, I'm concerned with something that I think most of the people in this nation are today, and that's the fact that with your past affiliation with the CIA, and so many people talking about imposing wiretaps and things like this and justifying them by whatever means,
yeah.
I'm primarily wondering what your position is on wiretap and what you would do as president to assure us, the people of this nation, that we will not come under a police state during your administration.
Well, you're absolutely right to be concerned that the individual's privacy be maintained. But people are fundamentally fair. First, I think most people understand that for an open society to remain open, some things have to be closed. I think people understand as they see an aggressive Soviet Union in Afghanistan, and as they see international tyranny in Iran, that we better have a strong Central Intelligence Agency. But they also know if you drop properly point out that American citizens should not be subjected to a police state. And I would remind you that I was at CIA 1 year. I helped the president draft an executive order to protect against the abuses of the past, to keep the Central Intelligence Agency in the foreign intelligence business, to strengthen and guarantee against not a big of a number of abuses, because if you read the Church report, you'll see there was only a handful of abuses, but to see that those abuses, some of which infringed on the rights of Americans, not be repeated. I testified 54 times before Congress in the 9 months that they were in session when I was director, to be as open as I possibly could. But then I stood up, having done what I could to safeguard the liberties and to be sure that those abuses not be repeated, and I said this, and I'll say it to you again. We better wake up in this country, realize we're fighting a tough adversary, and having made these corrections, strengthen, not weaken, not the way you're talking, but strengthen, not weaken, the foreign intelligence capability of this country. That's my answer.
I'd like for you to express your views on the foreign policy as it relates to Red China and the European common market as a whole.
Foreign policy as it relates to Red China and the common market. These are two separate areas. On China, without being a big deal about it, I believe I know as much about the China equation as anybody, because I lived there for 14 months. I knew the leaders, and still do, Deng Xiaoping. And let me tell you about China. We made a mistake in acquiescing in China's 3 demands to normalize relations. I want to qualify as name dropper of the day here in Mountain View. When I last saw Mao Zedong, how many of you guys can trump that one now? Come on. When I last saw Mao Zedong, he said there are 3 demands for normalization of relations. Take down the flag in Taiwan, put it up in Peking. Take your troops out of Taiwan. There were only 700 non-combat troops. The third one, though, was tear up your treaty with Taiwan. Now, my view is, and he also said this, and Deng Xiaoping said the same thing. You have 1, 10, or 100 years. China's interest was not in an instant solution to the Taiwan question. It was in the U.S. as a credible deterrent to the Soviet Union. We didn't need to tear up our treaty with a friend in order to improve relations with a country that I'm convinced we need to have better relations with in the future. China today is almost paranoid about the Soviet Union, and with a lot of good reason. And they can be and must be an important part of our foreign policy. But it didn't have to be done by turning your back on a defense treaty with a friend, because what that did was send out the wrong signals to countries like Israel in the Middle East, or countries in this hemisphere, or to our NATO allies. So, yes, we should improve relations with China. Yes, we must keep our commitments to Taiwan, which I believe can be done. There's been a big shift now lately on that. And yet we've got to keep our eyes wide open, because it was only 12 years ago that the Cultural Revolution was drawing to a close in China. On the common market, we've got to continue to strengthen our relationships with NATO and those common market countries on the economic side and on the political side. The Carter foreign policy has failed, and the reason it's failed is our allies don't know that Jimmy Carter's going to keep his word of honor. When we got Schmidt in Germany to agree to deploy that neutron weapon, and then the communist propaganda started, and Schmidt and Carter pulled back and vacillated, caught between conflicting views in his administration, we left Schmidt all alone, a staunch ally out there. You cannot treat your allies that way and still assume that they're going to help you later on a grain embargo or on an Olympics or whatever it is. We must strengthen relations with the common market. Those countries are a bulwark of freedom up against the bloc countries and up against the Soviets. But it's got to be a two-way street. And I fault them. They ought to be strong at our side in this Iran thing. But I think you've got to keep in mind, when they see our foreign policy vacillating, divided, weak, unwilling to keep commitments, they're going to act, they're going to run for cover. Yes,
we have time for just one more question. Yes. That has to be another schedule.
Mr. Bush, I salute you as the next President of the United States.
I like that optimism. I really do. That's a good point. We probably have no question about it, but we have a fundamental disagreement if you feel there should be no assistance there, because the burden of these schools that would be assisted under tuition tax credit does, if that burden were on the public sector, it would just be an extraordinarily complicating economic factor. So we may have an honest disagreement as to whether tuition tax credits to help people to get to college or help people in parochial or private schools is important. I happen to believe that if they adhere to the law and they're not a cover for some kind of violation of some other law, that kind of approach is all right, is good. And I certainly favor it in terms of helping people get through college, the college of their choice, because the tuition tax credit is a way you do it without determining. The individual can have the choice as to where their parents can have a choice of where they want to go, or the individual, if he's working his way through, would have the choice. So we may have a difference on this one, but in terms of support for public schools, my view is that we have to have it. The answer should be the quality, the nature of the quality of the education. It ought to be done with Washington, have a minimal amount of dictation in terms of program content. I don't believe that these fine-tuned programs from Washington are the answer. I think block grants, assistance to the institutions, is the way we ought to go. Thank you all. Let me end this way. And I'm sorry that we have to, because these questions are really well-informed and good. But I want very much to win this nomination and win this election. I say that because a lot of people ask me, why would anybody in his right mind, with Jimmy Carter inflation at 18%, Jimmy Carter interest rates at 18, magic number these days, and problems abroad, why would anybody in his right mind who could do something else want to be president of the United States? And I have learned a lot in the last year and a half campaigning across this country. I learned a lot in my years here in Texas trying to build something. And what I learned, I want to share with you. I am an optimist about this country. People ask now, and I'm sure, Dr. Jordan, you get this, whether the institution of the presidency can cope anymore. A lot of bright young people taking a look at it, studying it, say maybe the office is too big given the complexities of society and of the pressures on the United States. I don't believe it. I believe if you attract men and women of excellence into government, something I fault Carter for not having done, in the White House particularly, if you do it, I believe that'll help. I believe if you say, I don't know, when you don't, but get good people in there to help you find the answer, that'll help. I believe if you have a conviction that we've gotten too much into the public sector and too less in the private sector, and you're willing to fight for jobs in that private sector, I believe that can turn around if you control that growth of spending, inflation. And I also believe, based on considerable experience, that we can, without being bellicose, without drawing our line in the sand, that we can restore the respect we lost abroad. And that's what drives my quest for the presidency. And I'll be honest with you, in spite of what every of these mournful commentators we get on the radio and television, I believe I'm going to make it for that reason. It's coming true. I need your help. Thank you very, very much.
A real guarantee in life is sometimes hard to come by.
Yes, sir. It's a beauty. It comes fully loaded and fully guaranteed.
Our love is eternal. There is no other man in my life but you. I guarantee it.
There is one guarantee you can depend on, the student guarantee at the DCCCD. Whatever your chosen field of study, whatever your career choice may be, we have a guarantee. The student guarantee at the DCCCD.
Pardon me, sir? What exactly is the student guarantee at the DCCCD?
Say that 10 times real fast.
Student guarantee at the DCCCD. Student guarantee at the DCCCD. Student guarantee at the DCCCD.
Student guarantee at the DCCCD. Student guarantee
At the DCCC? DC? Student guarantee at the DCCCD. 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 How many is that? Student guarantee at the DCCCD.
Just kidding. Let's get down to brass tacks. Basically, the student guarantee states that the Dallas County Community College District stands behind the education and/or training that you receive at its college campuses. We can't go into all the details here because of time, but once you read the guarantee, your reaction will be very similar to this.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. So how do I find out more about it?
At any campus that's part of the Dallas County Community College District, locate the Counseling Center and ask a counselor to explain the details. You'll find them to be helpful, courteous, and dedicated to helping you achieve your goals, both educationally and in life. So, don't forget,
Remember the student guarantee. Remember the student guarantee. Remember the student guarantee. Remember the student. God.
Yeah. I see a red light. Okay.
There's one particular horse called Nugget. He embraces. The animal digs its sweaty brow into his cheek, and the two stand in the dark for an hour. Like a necking couple. And of all nonsensical things, I keep thinking about the horse. Not the boy, the horse. And what it might be trying to do.
Same Frank, times change.
They change if you let them change, Dora. Please return that set in the morning.
No! Frank, no!
I'm sorry, Dora. I didn't want it in the house to begin with. I'm not having it here any longer.
But dear, everyone watches television these days.
And what do they watch? Mindless violence, mindless jokes, every 5 minutes some laughing idiot selling you something you don't want just to bolster up the economic system. I'm sorry, old chum.
Down towards the tail and right through the coat. That's it. Again. Down towards the tail and right through the coat. Very good. Now you keep that up for 15 minutes and then do El Trooper, will you? You've got a feel for it. I can tell. It's going to be fun teaching you. See you later.
Now the king commands you. Tonight we ride against them all. My foes and his.
And who are your foes?
The hosts of Hoover, the hosts of Philco, the house of Remington, and all its tribes.
Who are his foes?
The hosts of Boulder, the hosts of Jodhpur, all those who show him off for their vanity. Tie rosettes on his neck for their vanity. Come on now, Equus, let's show them. Walk! And Equus the mighty rose against all. His enemies scatter, his enemies fall. Turn, turn, trample them, turn, turn. Equus, the kind, the merciful. It wasn't really me, not really me. Please, take me back. I'll never do it again. I swear, never.
What does he say?
Mine. You're mine and I am yours. And I see his eyes, they're rolling.
Kiss anyone and I will see?
Yes.
Lie with anyone and I will see?
Yes.
And you will fail. Forever and ever you will see me and you will fail.
Yes.
The Lord thy God is a jealous God, Alan. He sees you. He sees you forever and ever. He sees you, Alan.
Eyes, white eyes, always coming, never closed, eyes like flames. God seest. God seest. No more. No more, Equus. 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 God's slave. Faithful and true. Equus. Thou, God, seest nothing! 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 Find me! Find me! Find me! Kill me! Kill me! Kill me! Kill me! Kill me!
Lie back. There is now in my mouth this sharp chain, and it never comes out.
Oh! Oh! Hey! Are you insane?
Say it isn't so!
No way!
Way!
Are you nuts?
I gotta have that press!
Archives.
Ready to go into the archives? Are you ready to go into the very bowels of hell? Whoa, doggies!
What?
No, that's it. I draw the line.
My advice, stay out of the archives.